What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time I'm going to be covering The Frighteners, directed by Peter Jackson and co-written by Peter Jackson and Frank Welsh. Overall, Frighteners, definitely one of my favorite Peter Jackson movies, and aside from this, my other favorite is King Kong. So that goes to tell you just how much of a fan I am of Peter Jackson, which is not a big one. I've seen all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies, and I just don't care for them at all. But The Frighteners, to me, trumps those movies. This movie is the perfect mesh of horror and comedy, and you got a good cast to bring it to life. You got Michael J. Fox, who plays the character of Frank Bannister, who is a ghost-busting con man, and Michael J. Fox as Bannister is hilarious. He's great. Michael J. Fox, to me, has a very likable charisma, and of course, I've been a fan of his work since Ghostbusters and Teen Wolf. So yes, I have an affection for Michael J. Fox as an actor. The man is really, really talented, and in this movie, he comes across as very likable, and I just like the interactions he has with every single character, particularly his three ghost friends, which are Stuart, Cyrus, and the Judge. I think the four of them have really good bantering scenes with one another, and they just have like a real rapport. Like Stuart and Cyrus, their whole thing is that they feel that they're being underappreciated by Frank, and they want to have and they want more respect. And I like how Frank and those two are always constantly butting heads with one another, but at the same time, there's still a friendship there. But they're also running a business, which is they got to scare to make money. So that stuff is great. I also like the character of the Judge, who Frank says is his top guy. But I also like how the Judge character also acts more like a mentor to Frank. Giving Frank advice and telling him things that he should be hearing, but Frank just ignores it. I like all that stuff. It's good stuff. And the Judge is played by John Astin, and his design is done by Rick Baker. So of course the Judge was my favorite ghost in this movie. My other favorite ghost is a cameo by R. Lee Ermey, who plays like this army ghost character, and he's fucking hysterical. R. Lee Ermey can make a small role and do so much with it. He was so talented. I love R. Lee Ermey. Wish he was still alive. You also got a good slew of supporting characters as well. You have Trini Alvarado and Peter Dobson, who play a married couple that are the first ones to interact with Frank, because Frank's ghost friends start haunting their house, and there's a scene prior where Frank crashes into the character Ray's house by accident, breaking his fence and destroys his garden gnome. And Peter Dobson is probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, because his reactions and facial expressions are so over-exaggerated that it's hilarious. And the way he plays Frank is just this fucking cocky, arrogant prick who you just want to punch in the face because he's annoying. Good performance. It's hilarious. It's really well. It's really good. I think Ray is one of the most underrated characters in this movie. You also got the character of Lucy, who is married to Ray, and after Ray is killed off by the Reaper character, Lucy and Frank start to develop a little bit of a love relationship as the movie goes on. They have this nice little dinner scene, which first is about Ray and Lucy's anniversary, but then it goes into Lucy and Frank having a personal conversation, and the beginnings of that romance taking place in that restaurant. Really well done, good stuff. You have Dee Wallace-Stone as the character of Annie, and you got Jake Busey, the character of Johnny Bartlett, who is actually the villain of the movie. And throughout the movie, we see flashbacks to this hospital massacre that Jake Busey and Dee Wallace's character Annie, Dee Wallace's character Patricia were a part of, where they went on a big massacre, and it's revealed that the ghost killing around everybody is in fact Johnny Bartlett back from the dead, wanting to continue his body count because he's obsessed with being in the big leagues with guys like Gacy and Bundy and stuff like that. And you got Jake Busey playing a psychopath. The man, along with his father, have faces that a psychopath can only wish to have. That over-exaggerated face that unintentionally just gives you the look of, you're not all right upstairs. And Jake Busey, to me, has always been a very underrated actor. And in this movie, he balances out being funny and creepy, and he does it in a way where it's never off-putting. It just feels natural with the rest of this movie. And Dee Wallace, always fun seeing Dee Wallace. She played the lead in The Howling, and I like the relationship between her and Johnny. They have this like a twisted Bonnie and Clyde type thing. So I dig it. I actually really like it a lot. But by far, my favorite character in this whole movie's got to be Agent Dammers, played by Jeffrey Combs, the Reanimator himself. Dammers is both hilarious and creepy all at the same time. Jeffrey Combs plays Dammers, he plays Dammers as a guy who is just not all right upstairs, who is completely just off the reservation. But I also like these little details he gives Dammers. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever Dammers would speak, he everything to him has a very preciseness to it. Like when he's interrogating Lucy, he's like, I need the precise time that so-and-so went into that bathroom. I said at 12:36 or 12:37, blah, 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 blah happened. And I like those little details. It adds so much to his character. There's also like a little detail where like he pulls out a donut to put on that he puts on his seat so that he can like not have pain when he sits down. And when Dammers starts to talk about some of his some of his past missions, you really find out just how psychologically damaged this guy is. You know, having had dealings with Charles Manson and Spawn Ranch, being a sex slave, being involved in cannibalistic cult rituals, and a bunch of freaking crazy nonsense. And all this is being said to Lucy in a cemetery while he's like showing her tattoos and body scars, and like that's where Dammers goes into his creepy phase, and Jeffrey Combs plays it in such a way where like you can't take your eyes off him because it's Jeffrey fucking Combs. And to me, Jeffrey Combs is it should be in every single horror movie ever put to screen, because he is the modern day horror icon, the underrated horror icon. I look at Jeffrey Combs as like a Vincent Price, someone who should have a small role in any horror movie, whether it be a serious movie or a comedic movie. Jeffrey Combs needs to be in it, damn it. That needs to be a petition. # Jeffrey for everything. So yeah, Jeffrey Combs as Dammers, definitely one of my favorite characters in this entire movie. He's great. Another thing I like is the antagonistic relationship between Frank and Johnny, because it's revealed that the traumatic experience that gives Frank the perception to see ghosts, that alters his life perception, that makes him able to see ghosts, is that Frank was once married, and during a car ride, they got into an accident, and it's revealed that Johnny Bartlett was the one who killed Frank's wife. So that automatically gives them a little bit of a rivalry, and it works throughout. And of course, that gets revealed in the climax of the movie during this big chase scene, which takes place in the actual institution where the 12 people were murdered by Johnny and Patricia. So I like that, and I just like the whole look of this derelict institution that has a creepy vibe to it. Everything looks worn down, and the cinematography of it gives it like this, almost like a Hammer horror-ish type feel to it, which I thought was pretty cool. And this movie also has a good mix of practical effects and some early CGI. Though when you watch it now, the CGI is really, really rough to watch. Like you can tell that it's like it's mid 90s CGI. It's not refined. It looks really PlayStation 1-ish, but the story is so tightly written and the acting is just so much fun that you can easily get past it, because as long as the story is intriguing and the actors are doing whatever they can to keep you entertained, you can look past stuff like clunky CGI. And that's what The Frighteners does best. It's a tightly paced story. It's got good acting. It's got fun characters. Everyone in this movie clearly is having a blast doing this thing. And that's why I'm going to give The Frighteners a 10 out of 10. This movie is fantastic. It's funny. It has scary moments, but it never crosses that line to being ultra scary. It still maintains that that sense of humor atmosphere to it. And it's just a fun watch. It's a breeze. It's never boring, and you're gonna be laughing in almost every other scene. So yeah, if you've seen The Frighteners, let me know in the comment sections below. If you have not seen The Frighteners, let me know in the comment section below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll check you back next time for more.